everybody. Mike Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer Hobby. We're going to do update 71, and 71 is going to also have a little bit of an extended title. We have some exciting news. When I say we, Robin and I and Gavin actually. Gavin was over here today, and he and I were looking at the layout, and we were doing some talking about the when we get into the operations here, and just a few different things. And we were looking at the other end down there, and he and I all of a sudden, just about at the same time, had a brainstorm about doing something different down there. And let me take you down there and show you what we have in mind. And then I'll add some more to this video as we go on tonight, and I will tell you what that will be. Okay, what you may see here in this video and what you may not see, something here may tip you off at this point. The first tip-off might be right down there. If you look really close, you will see that the book cabinet is not there anymore. If you remember there being a book cabinet there, I never opened it up, I don't think, and showed anybody, but it's missing. Not that I wanted to get them in the video, but you also see right there a couple of guns and a gun cleaning kit, which is not important to the video. But on top of that, you see some old plan sheets that I found. When I did the history video the other day, I didn't know where those were. And we may take a look at those at some point in time, but that's not the point of today's video either. The biggest tip is going to be that loop of track you see up there leaning against the wall. Now, let me put two and two together for you. Okay, what you will see here is the first part of what we're going to do. And there may be, hang on a minute, let me rotate around. You may remember, let me see if I can get my finger in here. This cabinet used to be right up in that hole, right there that you can see. Obviously no longer there because I had to make space. Also underneath there, and you probably never saw it, there was a round piece of sewer pipe that used to go back along the wall there. It had pieces of track and cork and other things in it that over a period of about 10 years that it's been here, I've never touched anything in that tube. So to make way, that tube was taken out, that cabinet was taken out, the bookshelf was taken out, and what I plan on doing is the electrical socket that you see in the wall there, I'm going to move it up to the base of the underside of the layout, move it up the wall. I am then going to cut out this foam floor tile down here, or if I have a couple more pieces, I might at least replace the one last piece, or maybe two last pieces down there. I think I may have some of it, or if not, I may buy some of it. But anyway, when I do that, I'm going to paint the entire wall down there black. And I'm going to put a piece of shelving directly on the floor on top of the foam padding. And I will be taking, hold on, all those models up there, which the space down below will be about 1/3 bigger than the space back there. And they will be stacked on the piece of shelving that'll be laying on the floor up underneath the layout and exposed, totally exposed to the front of the layout here. So they'll all be down here under the layout, but still the fronts of them exposed as they are up here. Now let's go down here and talk about what we're going to do down here at that end. Okay, so if you can picture this, we have about, let me pull this up. We have about 12 inches, 10 to 12 inches from the fronts of these kits back to the wall. And what Gavin and I were talking about is the branch line comes down through the town area and all the switching and stuff and comes out right here. And it went down to these tracks that were supposed to go off of the layout, and trains taken off and trains put on as a staging purpose? Well, I'm not exactly sure. I don't have a stiff plan yet. However, what I'm going to try and do is, where I have this little piece of track laying right here, we're going to try and come out of this tunnel somehow. And we don't know how yet. Even if I have to cut this opening bigger and build that bigger out that way and put the turnout on the other side of the mountain here, we're going to come out into here, go back where the models are, and let me move the camera with me. And behind this garage sign, you remember, was the opening in the wall that goes out into the garage, and we had the piece of glass out in the garage. We're going to loop into that hole. We're going to come around and loop right back with maybe 1 to 3 tracks, depending on what I can get in there, right back to this one single track here. Then we're going to add maybe 1 or 2 tracks to this straight track here, and we're going to come around this way, and I'm hoping to take that bottom glass shelf and move it up 1 notch, or split the difference on those, and then add a couple 2 or 3 tracks going back to about this area where this rambler is. I think you can see my finger there, because there's an electric box or an electric outlet right underneath there. I want to still have a place to set paperwork and stuff down there. I don't want to clutter it up too much, but that's where some tracks will be going. But the basic bulk of the work will take place behind this garage sign. This garage sign will come off the wall. It will go around on the other side of the wall above where the window is. Robin has a Shirley Temple doll cutout thing you may have seen in some of the videos. It's getting so sunburnt that it's just almost, you can't even hardly see the doll figures in there, and she doesn't really care much about it. So we're going to take that down and get rid of it and put the garage sign out there where the Shirley Temple thing was, which will then again open up this wall right here. The model kits will all move down here underneath the shelf, and that's about all I can tell you right now. I also decided to go through all the books that were in the bookcase down here and get rid of some of them. I will be putting them on our used page, along with the trees and things that I put on there the other day, and a model kit. And there may be even, I think there's going to be even another model kit or 2 on there. Some of the model kits that I don't really care for too much. I got them, and they're just not what I was hoping for. May go on there. And you may even see some crazy stuff go on that used page. Okay, everybody, as I said, Robin's out here, and she's gonna help me go through some of these books. And I already have some sorted out here, and I'm gonna wind up putting some of them on the scratch and dent page. Maybe you guys have some interest in some of them, but we're just gonna go through them here.
Look at this one.
Oh, that was the one from the club.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, she was just pointing out to me here, this model railroading, it's March 1991, and the only reason I ran across this magazine, and I don't know where it was that I ran across it, but I recognized the picture on the front, and it was our HO club when I first moved down to Las Cruces, in the top of a water treatment building that was owned by the Santa Fe Railroad, and we leased that building for $1 a year from Santa Fe. But anyway, the article is in there. It's a Model Railroading magazine, March 1991, and it's on the Mesilla Valley Model Railroad Club, which was the old HO club. But anyway, I'm going to be hanging on to that one.
Okay.
I think most of these, the Santa Fe related ones, steel rail. I don't need this steel rails through California. Doesn't mean much to me. Probably should look inside some of them too. I don't know where I got some of these. This is, what is this? Oh, Albuquerque, Los Angeles. So that's the advertising. I like that one. I think you might have got that one for me. Somebody got that one for me. I like that one. It's just all kinds of advertising from
Rock Island?
Yes, I keep that one. There's a little story behind the Rock Island one we decided to keep here. I'm not necessarily a Rock Island modeler. However, I got this book because Robin and I, we used to go out and walk the tracks and stuff years ago when you didn't have to worry about the police showing up and hauling you off or something. But nevertheless, we found all kinds of shards of Rock Island pottery out there, dishes off the train. And so I kind of got hooked on the Golden State Limited because we find Golden State China. So anyway, I have this one and I'm going to hang on to that one.
And I made a table with all
Yeah.
the broken pieces of pottery that we found out there on the tracks.
Yeah, and if I get a chance before the end of this video, if she reminds me, I'll go out there and take a picture of that real quick and put it in the video for you guys. Oh, I don't know why I had that.
I don't either.
Fuel socket. Maybe somebody else left that in there. I don't know
Yeah.
where I got this book, which is this one.
Yeah. And look and see if there was any other surprises in that.
Oh yeah, you never know.
No?
Iron Horses of the Santa Fe. I'm not too much into steam locomotives. I think I'll get rid of that one. I think I'll get rid of this one. It's Iron Horses of the Santa Fe Trail. There's a lot of steam locomotive information in here, but I'm not a steam guy. I don't think I'll hang on to that one. Oh, this one I will hang on to. This is work equipment cars for Santa Fe Railroad. It's all their like maintenance away equipment. I keep it because not because I build a lot of maintenance away equipment, but because maintenance away equipment is very unusual, and it's unusual that you find a book about it. So we're gonna hang on to that one.
That's a series.
Oh yeah, this one here. You guys are probably familiar with this series here, The Illustrated History of the American Railroad. It has a Southern Pacific, Union Pacific, and Santa Fe book in there. I've lost the paper cover off of the Southern Pacific book. Yeah, it's a pretty good set, but if you're not into Union Pacific or Southern Pacific, it's not real helpful. I think I'm going to get rid of that one. By the way, that's a very common book, set of books. Thunder in the Mountains. The only reason I would keep this, and that I am going to keep this, is because it's got a lot of. It's related to, if you've heard of the book Titans of Timber, which was related to geared locomotives, and had a lot of lithographs in it and stuff. Anyways, I had one of those once and got rid of it. But this one here is all about geared locomotives and logging, so I'm going to just hang on to that one just because I have an interest in it. The water level route book here. When I started doing HO years ago, when I got involved in the club in Albuquerque, the Modular Club, since Robin is from New York, I decided to do New York Central Railroad. And the picture on the front of here is New York Central Niagara with a whole string of pacemaker cars. And I always thought it was one of the most beautiful freight trains ever. And even though I'm not doing New York Central now, I think I'm going to hang on to this one just because it has sentimental meaning to me. I have a Santa Fe locomotive roster. This locomotive roster book is pretty good. It has rosters for all different railroads in it, although I have a very complete, on paper, in fact I'll show it to you here, but I have a Santa Fe roster of locomotives. So this isn't very helpful to me, so I'm probably going to get rid of that. That being said, this was the roster that someone printed out for me. It's got a roster of all Santa Fe locomotives and of the diesel age, I believe, anyway. It looks like they're all diesel. And it's pretty complete. And then I have some books. I have a book in particular, and I don't know where it is right now. It's one of these books here. Has a complete roster and pictures of those styles of locomotives. So I have plenty of reference material there. Southern Pacific Motive Power 1972. I don't know, I really don't know as I need this. I may keep it though because I may, in the era that I'm modeling out there in the train room or in the train room over here is 50s, 60s era, 40s maybe. And Southern Pacific could have come out of El Paso and been up in our district here. I don't know if they ever did. I doubt it very seriously. But on my railroad, they may have, so I'm going to hang on to that just for reference purposes. Railroads and towns in New Mexico. Obviously, I think I'll just hang on to that simply because it refers to New Mexico. And I don't need to get rid of it. So I don't know where I wound up with this modeling in styrene. Pardon me, this modeling in styrene magazine. I think it might have been in one of the estates. It's going. It's pretty helpful. It has some nice tips on cutting styrene, painting styrene, gluing styrene, and so forth. And it'll go. Let's see, track plan ideas. I don't remember about this one, if it had any good plans in it. Yeah, I think this is one that I referred to. A lot of these track planning books like this, I might add in this video, they're pretty good. I have one that's 101 railroads, model railroads down here or something like that. And this track planning one here. And a lot of the railroads that I have built over time took pieces of some of these railroads and combined them together. So never look at a plan and say this has to be the plan. Look at the pieces of the plan you like and then see if you can integrate them together. Mark them in the magazines. See if you can integrate them together into a layout you want. I'm going to hang on to that one. I think I had 2 of these somewhere in that pile. I may have thrown it out before.
I don't see it.
Okay. This quiz book, it's just a quiz book on railroads in general, and I think I'm going to get rid of this one. It has a lot of cool facts in here and then answers. It's kind of a cool book to read through, but once you've done it once, there's not much sense in doing it again. Who was this? This wasn't...
Jim Kelly.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know how I wound up with this HO railroad from start to finish, but I'm going to get rid of that one too. Don't know where that came from. This book here is Track Planning with John Armstrong. John Armstrong, as many of you know, is famous for his logistical planning on model railroads. There's a lot of information in here and a lot of how-to on how to do corners and make things to where you can operate the layout and stuff. But on the other hand, it's a very old book. I don't even know what the date on this book is, but as you can tell by the cover, it's very old. And that's my phone. But anyway, that's going to go. And I'm going to pause this and get the phone. Hokie Railroad located up in the mountains and prairies, and the things that happen on the railroad. It's very interesting. If you ever get a chance to get a copy of this, which you're not going to get from me because I'm keeping it, but if you ever get a chance to look up this little book, I highly recommend getting it, especially in this day and age of the coronavirus and all the things that are going on in the world. This one will put a smile on your face, and I'm keeping that one. Is that it?
That's it. I don't know about that.
Oh, just leave it there. I don't know what's in there. So guys, that's about it on going through the. Oh.
Did you do that?
Oh yeah, these are the ones I'm keeping.
Okay.
I'm keeping those and those. So basically, that's it. I've decreased my books down to about half of what I had, so that I can fit them in the bookcase a little bit better inside. And this just kind of goes along with what I've already explained to you that we're going to do in the train room. So I'll keep you posted as we move along with this project. And as usual, what do I always say? Thanks for watching. Thanks, guys.